In 1932, on the RKO lot in Hollywood, two film crews shared a single jungle. During the day, animators and technicians were building King Kong frame by frame. At night, a live-action cast took over the exact same sets and shot a completely different movie about a man who hunts other men for sport. Fay Wray, who you know as the woman in Kong's Fist, starred in both productions at the same time. The film made at night was called The Most Dangerous Game. It came out in September 1932, 6 months before King Kong hit theaters. Audiences met Fay Wray in this picture first. They just did not know yet what else she was making on the same lot while they watched it. The story comes from a short story by Richard Connell, published in January 1924. Connell's idea was elegantly sinister. What if the greatest hunter grew so bored that he started hunting people? The story became one of the most anthologized short stories of the 20th century, and Hollywood noticed almost immediately. RKO assigned the project to Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Schoedsack, the same producing and directing team behind King Kong. When they designed the jungle sets for Kong, they built them large enough and detailed enough that a second production could run simultaneously. That was the plan from the beginning: get two films out of one expensive set. The villain is Count Zaroff, played by Leslie Banks. Banks had sustained a facial nerve injury during World War I that left one side of his face partially immobile. On screen, this gives him an involuntary asymmetry. He smiles on one side, and something harder to name happens on the other. The filmmakers leaned into it. Zaroff is simultaneously charming and deeply wrong. Zaroff lives alone on a remote island where ships wreck with suspicious regularity. He rescues survivors, feeds them, gives them a comfortable night, and then offers a choice: be hunted through the jungle or be fed to his dogs. Most survivors choose the jungle. That is exactly what Zaroff wants. Joel McCrea plays Bob Rainsford, a hunter who has spent his career tracking dangerous animals and who now finds himself on the other side of that equation. The contrast works precisely because McCrea plays it straight. He is not smarter than Zaroff, not more cultured, not more prepared. He is just trying to stay alive. When Zaroff tells him the hunt begins at dawn, Rainsford has one night to figure out how to survive it. The chase sequence runs through darkness and uses the jungle set to real effect. These are the same vines, the same water features, the same towering trees that were being dressed for a giant gorilla 12 hours earlier. The production design that was meant to sell the impossible turns out to sell genuine dread with no adjustments at all. Robert Armstrong also appears in the film as Martin, a shipwreck survivor who does not last long. Armstrong is better known today as Carl Denham, the showman who captures Kong. In 1932, he was shooting both films on the same lot, just like Ray. The shared cast was not a creative decision. It was a scheduling one, and it accidentally made these two productions feel like they belonged to the same world. The whole picture runs 63 minutes. It is a tight, efficient genre film of the kind RKO's B unit produced regularly, but it punches well above its budget because the sets it borrowed cost a fortune and because the premise is structurally close to perfect. A hunter. A better hunter. One jungle. Go. The copyright on The Most Dangerous Game was never renewed when the renewal window came due. Under the copyright law then in effect, a film required active renewal to stay protected. RKO did not file. The film passed into the public domain, which meant anyone could copy it, distribute it, screen it, and eventually stream it for free on the internet without asking anyone's permission. Connell's premise has been adapted for film dozens of times since 1932. A direct remake came out in 1945 called A Game of Death. Run for the Sun in 1956. Hard Target in 1993. Surviving the Game in 1994. The core logic keeps coming back because it is almost perfectly engineered. Take something we admire, the skilled hunter, and push it one step too far until it becomes the worst thing imaginable. What the 1932 film understands, and what every successful version since has also understood, is that Zaroff must be civilized. The horror depends on it. He is educated, cultured, genuinely knowledgeable about music and art. The hunting is not crude violence to him. It is an art form. That idea, the monster with exquisite taste, runs from this film straight through to Hannibal Lecter 50 years later. You can watch the complete film right now, legally and for free, on the Internet Archive. No login, no subscription. The print that survived is not pristine, but it is complete, and 63 minutes of a man being hunted through an actual jungle set by an aristocrat who grins on only one side of his face is 63 minutes extremely well spent. The film that started as a budget calculation shot at night on borrowed sets outlasted most of what RKO released that year in one very specific way. People are still watching it. Not because it is on a canonical list somewhere. Because the story works, and it always has. The real vault looks for films like this one, the ones made sideways, the ones that slipped into the public domain and sat there waiting. the ones where the story behind the story is as interesting as the film itself. If that sounds like what you want more of, follow the channel. The next one is already stranger than this.